concept of global warming being a satanic mission to undermine Jesus is a notion that has been perpetuated by some religious groups and individuals. This idea is rooted in the belief that Satan is actively working to destroy God's creation and undermine the teachings of Jesus Christ. Proponents of this viewpoint argue that global warming is not just a natural phenomenon or result of human activities, but rather a deliberate attempt by Satan to bring about chaos and destruction on a global scale. According to this perspective, Satan is using global warming as a tool to undermine the authority of God and Jesus Christ. By causing widespread destruction and chaos through extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and devastating natural disasters, Satan is allegedly attempting to turn people away from God and towards a more secular and humanistic worldview. This, in turn, is seen as a way to undermine the teachings of Jesus in the Bible, which emphasize the importance of caring for God's creation and being good stewards of the earth. Some proponents of this viewpoint also argue that the push for environmentalism and sustainability is, in fact, a satanic plot to control people's minds and turn them away from God. They claim that the emphasis on reducing carbon emissions, using renewable energy, and protecting endangered species is not just about saving the planet, but rather about establishing a new world order that is contrary to God's will. This, they argue, is a form of spiritual deception that is designed to lead people away from the truth of the Bible and towards a more secular and humanistic worldview. However, this viewpoint is not supported by scientific evidence and is widely regarded as a misinformation campaign. The overwhelming consensus among climate scientists is that global warming is a real and pressing issue that is primarily caused by human activities, such as the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation. The evidence for this is clear. Rising global temperatures, melting glaciers, and shifting weather patterns are all consistent with the predicted effects of human-induced climate change. Furthermore, the idea that global warming is a satanic mission to undermine Jesus is not supported by biblical teachings. The Bible teaches that humans are called to be good stewards of the earth and to care for God's creation. In fact, the book of Genesis states that God gave humans dominion over the earth, but this dominion is not a license to exploit and destroy the natural world. Rather, it is a call to responsibility and stewardship, to care for the earth and all its creatures in a way that is pleasing to God. In addition, many Christian denominations and organizations are actively working to address the issue of climate change and promote sustainability. These groups recognize that caring for the earth is not just a secular issue, but a moral and spiritual one that is rooted in biblical teachings. They argue that Christians have a responsibility to protect the earth and all its creatures, not just for the sake of the planet, but for the sake of humanity and the glory of God. In conclusion, the idea that global warming is a satanic mission to undermine Jesus is a flawed and misleading notion that is not supported by scientific evidence or biblical teachings. While it is true that Satan is actively working to destroy God's creation and undermine the teachings of Jesus, the issue of global warming is a complex and multifaceted one that requires a nuanced and informed response. Rather than attributing climate change to a satanic plot, Christians should be working to address this issue in a way that is rooted in biblical teachings and a commitment to caring for God's creation. By doing so, we can promote a more sustainable and equitable future for all and fulfill our responsibility as stewards of the earth.